He is a two-time World Series champion, three-time All-Star, 21 years in the major leagues, and stories to tell for days. Joining us on behalf of the American Century Championship at Edgewood Tahoe that's going to take place on the Golf Channel and NBC right here on Peacock is none other than David Wells. How are you doing, David?
Rich, I am doing great, man. I'm finally away from the East Coast where I just moved back to the West Coast where it's really nice weather and it's not scalding like Florida. Holy moly!
So you're a SoCal guy, right, David?
Yeah, San Diego, born and bred, but through the pandemic going on and just crazy prices, taxes, gas especially. My wife's from Tampa, so it's like, what the heck? Let's go back. Let's try it one more time. But I said, we're not going there for the summer.
Well, welcome.
We're coming back out west.
Well, welcome back to the West Coast. Welcome back to this coast, David. Welcome back. Let's jump right into it. The Yankees right now with 51 wins, and they are on pace and occasionally ahead of the pace of the 98 Yankees team that you were part of as an 18-game winner, 125 and 50. Any similarities do you see between these two teams, David?
Well, I haven't watched much baseball, but I was just in New York last week for a couple days at the stadium up in the suites doing some signings. And, just the buzz and listening to everybody talk about them. And then, obviously, you got to take a peek and see what's going on. And these guys are playing lights out. And, and it's kind of cool from, when you played on a team like we did in 98 and having, just a well-rounded team, pitching was solid, you can't help but think that. And records are made to be broken, and as long as these guys, if they're going to do it, they better go all the way like we did, because I think the year after us, what was it, Seattle won 126 and got knocked out in the first round?
Yeah, I mean, Seattle has won an insane amount of games. I think it was the 2001 Mariners that, the Yankees did eventually knock out when they made the World Series that year. So obviously it's a long season. But when did you know in 98 that you were part of something that was generationally special, David?
Well, we started the season out of the chute, I think 0-3 or 0-4, something like that. And Joe Torre wasn't very happy because with the team that we had, he came in and let us have it, literally let us have it. And I think, that kind of clicked with everybody. And I don't think we lost another series after that start, and guys just gelled. I mean, there was no animosity. And if there was, it was nipped in the butt. It just, guys were doing their job, and it just became like a fun competition between the pitchers. Like Pettit would win, Cone would win, El Duque, and we'd go out there, and you just want to follow suit. You didn't want to be the guy that stopped the streak. So we just kind of competed that way, and really didn't think about the record. We didn't think about what was going on. We didn't rely on Jeter. We didn't rely on Tino or anybody like that. Guys just did their job. So that's why we were so lethal.
Well, I mean,
the fact that you didn't have to count on just one guy. Everybody did their job.
I mean, you're in that locker room. Cone's in that locker room. Bernie Williams and Jeter and Pettit and a bunch of guys. You weren't part of that 96 team that had already won a World Series. But there were some real lead pipe wielding, professionals and veterans. What did it sound like with Torre airing you out? I mean, what was that like, David?
Well, he just snapped. Like guys will snap. I mean, I've snapped plenty of times, as you well know. But he just knowing that the team that we had, with the ability that we're better than what we were in the beginning. I mean, I believe he called Jeter out, and Jeter didn't like it. It's just like, hey, you're our captain. Step up and do something like that. And they just kind of challenged us. And, and it was, to me, that was kind of cool. And, Joe and I didn't get along as player manager relationship. But I did respect the fact that if he's going to call a meeting, he's going to call guys out. That's what he did, and that's what makes you better. I mean, when you come in there and you're like, wow, he's right. We got that ability to be very special, and and win, and that's basically what it was, and we gelled from there, and the rest was history.
David Wells here on the Rich Eisen Show. I do remember you and Tori grinding gears. There's a lot of gear grinding between the two of you guys. What was that about? What was that about?
It's just I felt that we're grown men. You shouldn't be monitored, especially me, because I was that guy. I hated to stay in. I went out quite a bit. I did my thing, but it worked for me. And see on page 6 or whatever something, they'd see me. Wells was at this place. Wells was at that place. The night before the perfect game, I'm at Saturday Night Live till 5:30 in the morning. With Jimmy Fallon, the guys partying it up, not thinking that I had a game the next day, and stupid stuff like that. But it doesn't sit well, it doesn't look good. But if I knew what I had to do, and all I was praying for was go deep into the game and not embarrass yourself, in my condition that I was in, and it just happened. But that was just a fluke. Was all it was, but Joe just didn't like it, and I felt he didn't treat everybody the same, and that was one thing that was big with me. If you're a manager, you treat everybody the same. You don't favor guys, and that's what I thought Joe did.
All right, so I'll bite on that. I thought I had heard this story before, but so you go to Saturday Night Live and party till 5 in the morning, and then pitch the perfect game. Pretty much, I guess, in the same 24-hour period. I mean, it's 5:30 in the morning. That's the day of the game. That was May 17th, right? That's what you did?
1 o'clock game, 1 o'clock game, couple hours of sleep. And, I remember going to the ballpark, and Coney's locker was right next to mine. He goes, wow. I go, what? He goes, you stink. You better go hide. And I'm like, what? And he goes, yeah, you better go hide. Go in the back room because, it was just one of those things. I'm like, oh, I didn't realize it. You just didn't realize. You get caught up in a moment, and and I loved Saturday Night Live. It's the greatest show ever, and just to do something like that was stupid, Rich. I mean, it was just one of those things that I just got caught up in and did the stupidest thing. But it's a memorable one, I guess.
Yeah, I
would say. Brag about.
Who was? So did you see the show? Like you went and you saw the show and everything the night before? I
went and saw the show. I don't think I could tell you
who was hosting,
who even hosted it. To be honest with you, I just it's one of those things. If I didn't drink that night, I probably would have remembered, but I didn't remember. And all I know is it was like 5:30 in the morning, and Jimmy Fallon and I were like, who's leaving first? And then I got in the car and I got home and passed out. And my son woke me up in the morning a couple hours later, and I was just like, dang, this is not good. And then Jimmy wakes up at 1. He's like at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning or in the afternoon. He turns the TV on. I'm there. He thought it was a rerun. So he started calling some of the guys on the show, and he's like, you're not going to believe this, but Wells is out there pitching. And they're like, no, it's a rerun. And it wasn't. It was live. So that was kind of hilarious.
And then at the end of the day, you had the most memorable start of your career. I mean,
how about that? Blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while.
It's a hell of a nut. It's a hell of a nut. And it also helped in terms of it made me, I remember, watching this. I was on SportsCenter and, and covering this sort of thing, but also being a diehard Yankee fan at the same time. I just remember that made me feel like, okay, this season could be the special one. This is it. That's how it felt
right.
to me.
And it just added to, what that team was all about and how we gelled. I mean, guys did their job, and that was so cool. I mean, I've been on a lot of good teams, 92 World Series. We played, we had a really great team, but, we didn't click like we did in New York. But we had studs, Dave Winfield, Roberto Alomar, Candy Maldonado was a backup guy, and he did his job. I mean, it was just Joe Carter. We just had guys that did the job, and the pitching was great. Jack Morris was awesome. And then we got Coney, and Coney from Kansas City, and he could hit. So he saved us a lot. So it was kind of those things that you had, but I just felt 98 gelled better than 92.
By the way, Buck Henry hosted, and Semisonic was the musical guest the night before your perfect game, David.
Yeah, that's good statisticians back there.
You know what? I've got a crack staff. I have a crack staff. David Wells here on the Rich Eisen Show. Shohei Ohtani had 2 home runs and 8 RBIs in one game, and then the next night he has a 13 strikeout, 2-hit performance. It's insane what he's doing. I'm wondering what you, David Wells, as a 21-year vet, would think about what he's up to right now.
I think it's awesome. I mean, you look back in the days when I was growing up, and the Padres, they had Tim Lawler. Tim Lawler was he was a good pitcher, but he can hit too. Mm-hmm. He'd pinch hit and do that kind of stuff. And, I guess Tim Lawler was the modern day Ohtani, but, Ohtani, this dude it's pretty awesome to see, what this guy can do, on both ends, like being, a two-way player. It's like Bo Jackson in football and baseball, but this guy's shortstop and pitching. And he's just having some fun. I guess he's toying with everybody with the ability, but not everybody can do what he does. And and I don't know if it's gonna start a trend, but pitchers can hit. Some I couldn't. I stunk at it, but I didn't like it. I hated to hit, hurt my hands, because I always got jammed. So I would just swing at the first pitch and go that. But to see this guy, what he's doing on the mound and, with the bat, it's pretty awesome.
I looked it up, David. You had 2 extra base hits in your career, 2. Actually, you did. You had a double in 2003 and a double in 2007. So congratulations on that. You had those 2 doubles.
And one of them was probably one of the top 3 greatest pitchers ever was Greg Maddux.
You doubled off of Greg Maddux? Are you serious?
I think I went 2 for 3 off of him in 2000. I think it was 7 when he was with the Padres. I was the Dodgers.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So
okay.
Then I got a hit off of him in Atlanta. I think it was it was one of the playoffs, and when I was with Cincinnati in '95, I got a hit off of him there. A double off of Zambrano, I think it was, in Chicago.
Okay.
Almost a home run.
Look at you, man.
So,
okay. Did you keep the ball?
Probably not.
They didn't flip it out?
I kept everything. I got a massive collection. I got to get rid of some of that stuff. I got so much.
Oh, my gosh. A couple more minutes left here with David Wells. Okay, so you've got the American Century Championship. That is the annual big-time charity and also celebrity event that's going down at Edgewood Tahoe. It'll be on Golf Channel Friday, July 8th, and then NBC on the weekend of July 9th as well, and 10th. What's your game looking like? My
David? Game needs some help right now because I just played in the BMW Corn Ferry in South Carolina a couple weeks ago, and I won it last year, which was great because Ozzie Smith and I were battling for first place in low handicap, and I was lucky enough on the last hole. It was a par 3, number 9 at Thornblade, and I hit a hole-in-one to win it. And not only that, I won the car, so that was even more fun.
So you aced to win, not just the car and the hole, but for the whole shooting match? Are you serious? What was
for the low handicap? So it was pretty awesome. And then this year, I didn't even make the cut. I stunk it up over there, but you got to get your A game ready for Tahoe because Tahoe is, I think this is my 18th year playing there, and I'll tell you what, I played in a lot of events, and this one is special. It's a lot of fun. They do a great job. Jonathan Thomas, the CEO of American Century, he's just been a wonderful host, and and he rolls out. He's like a Steinbrenner. He rolls out the carpet for all the celebrities and makes things happen. And, and NBC does their thing. They do a great job. Mike Milthorpe, runs that with Gary Quinn. And, these guys go in there and they make sure that everybody's on their top, behavior and have fun, and they don't tolerate, all the doo-doo. So I'm always on my best behavior up there, so it's a good thing.
Okay. Well, maybe NBC could get Fallon there, and you can just stay out all night the night before and just shoot like a 63 the next day, David. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes I think that, but I've tried it in golf on a hangover, and you look down, you start spinning, you're like, no, I don't think I'm going to look down very much. The game is weird. That ball doesn't move, so it kind of baffles you sometimes how bad your game can go south. But it's fun watching a lot of these athletes play. Mark Mulder is unbelievable golfer.
Well, Smoltz is the guy, right? Isn't it Smoltz? Isn't he the one too? Smoltz is the one to look out for, right?
He's always good enough not to win. Smoltz he is, but he brings his game in.
Okay.
And he's a competitor, and I think what was it last year? He was in a playoff with Vinny Del Negro, and he tried to make a miraculous shot, and he messed it up, and Del Negro won. And it was funny because Greg Olson, it was his catcher as well as his caddy when he was with the Braves, and he come in. You should have seen the look on his face. He was so pissed. It was to me it was comical but that's just John Smoltz. He's a competitor. He's going to try to find an edge, and it didn't work for him. But anyways, it was great for Vinny, great guy. But that's just the thing, guys up there. You never know who's going to win because the competition's so great.
It is so much fun. It's a beautiful course, and the fans are great. And Sean Payton's hitting it off a deck, and I don't just mean a driver without a tee. I mean, like literally off a deck of a boat that he flipped his tee shot on that famed par 3. It's a blast. It's a total blast.
Oh yeah, that par 3 can get you in trouble too. So you got to be careful. Make sure your wife's not walking with you.
Are you talking about
you walk down the right?
Spectators.
If you walk down the right side, you're in a little bit of trouble.
You got to have
on the left
side. You got to keep your hand. You just got to keep your vision on the catcher's mitt, David. You know what I'm saying? You just got to look straight at home, just straight home. That's what you got to look.
You have to. And I remember years ago, I was golfing with Dan Quayle. And
okay.
So then a bunch of girls, in bikinis, just good-looking girls, and they're like, Dan, can we get a picture? And he didn't know what to do. I'm like, Dan, go over there, man. Go get your picture with these girls. It'd be great for press. And so he got the courage. He did it. And I said, all right. And he went over there. I said, all right, girls, show your boobs. And he ran like a bat out of hell. He got out there so quick, and he's like, he just looked at me. He goes, "You're not right.
You are not right." Okay, and then that was the end of his political career. Oddly enough, at the same time. That's strange, David. That's strange.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I could ruin anybody's political career.
David Wells, you are one of a kind, sir. Let's do this more often. Hit him straight in Tahoe next month, and let's keep chatting. Been too long.
I would love it. Thanks, Rich. I appreciate you, buddy.
It has been too long, David Wells. It might have been like Tampa at a spring training in the late 90s last time I saw you. So I greatly appreciate the time here. Let's do it more than once every 20-some-odd years.
You let me know. I'm there for you.
At Boomer Wells 33 on Twitter, right here on The Rich Eisen Show.